I thank the member and recognize the member for Powell River, Sunshine Coast.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I've never seen, no disrespect intended through you, Madam Chair, Madam Speaker, but I've never seen a more wasted 5 minutes of this House's time than his elitist advertorial for wine pairings. We're talking about food security, Madam Speaker. We're talking about the need to protect our food system so that people throughout this province have access to healthy and affordable, nutritious food. We're not talking about where your favorite winery is or your most favorite unpasteurized cheese. I know kids in my constituency, Madam Speaker.
Member, you will direct your remarks through the chair.
Madam Speaker, through you to the member who spoke previously, there are people in his constituency in the Comox Valley, who are making decisions today about affordability of rent or affordability of food. And Madam Speaker, if that member isn't recognizing that fact in this House today, he's not doing his job. Hear, hear. Food security is more than just about your favorite taste buds or what makes you feel good at the end of a day. There are children in this province that member knows are living in poverty, and that member knows that the welfare rates aren't adequate to support a family. Children are not being properly fed. Children are not doing as well in school. Communities are not succeeding and being the vibrant places they can be because of poverty in this province. And, Madam Speaker, that is what this issue is about. The resolution reads, for those interested, be it resolved that this House debate and discuss a made-in-BC food security and production plan. We're not talking about wine pairings, yet the giggling from the other side of this House makes it seem like this is just fun and frivolity. We have work to do as legislators in this province, and their abject disregard for the important issue before us is a shame on this House. Madam Speaker, in my riding alone, in the last 20 years, we've lost over 3,000 hectares of agricultural land reserve in one part of the coast alone, 2,000 in the other. We need to do more to protect our land. We need to do what we have to do looking forward, as the government likes to say. We need to figure out how are we going to feed our communities when the food systems that this government tries to promote and support fail. Because we've seen evidence of them failing in the past. We don't see problems with E. coli from buying a side of beef from a neighbour. We see it from the plants like Maple Leaf Foods. We see it from the huge industrial farming complexes where meat gets mixed with all sorts of things and we don't know what we're buying. Well, I prefer, Madam Speaker, to live in a province where we have the option of buying healthy local food. This government is doing everything it can to make that impossible. From the meat regulations, from new regulations on farming, on weekend farmers markets. Madam Speaker, what they say and what they do is completely unrelated to the needs of this province. And I would say, Madam Speaker, to help them to go back into their lulled state of denial, that really what we need to be doing is making sure that all families in this province have access to healthy food. It's not a very complicated thing. We need to be promoting a well-thought-out plan for disaster, for the uncertainties of the future. It's the responsibility of government to look to that future and to make sure that the citizens of this province are adequately protected for whatever eventuality. And instead we hear about cheese and wine. Madam Speaker, it's too bad, but I'd like to see that government side put some thought to intellectual policy, intellectual thought into some policies that will work for the people of this province, instead of just self-promotion and advertorials for a few selected hand-picked constituents. This is about food security for children in this province, and I find that the government side is failing woefully in this regard, unfortunately. So, Madam Speaker, in order for food security to be higher on this list, the government needs to recognize that it's a problem. Perhaps they need to recognize what it actually is. And once they do that, perhaps they'll think to the future and plan for the future and ensure that children and families in this province have access to healthy, local, sustainably produced food for British Columbians. And with that, Madam Speaker, thank you very much for the opportunity.